Hi, and welcome back to the Mortgage Broker broadcast. My guest this week is Marty, mortgage broker. And the reason why I wanted to get Marty onto the podcast was that Marty's an experienced mortgage advisor. He's worked for a high street bank for a number of years, 13, 14 years, whatever it was. So he's pretty experienced in being a mortgage advisor. And at the end of last year, he decided to become self-employed as a mortgage broker. So I wanted to get Marty onto the podcast just to talk about him, like what thoughts he was going through at the time, how he's found the transition, but also as well, look at he's really come out of the firing blocks with social media and videos and content. So I really wanted to explore a lot more about that really more than anything else. So he's new into broking world, but also very out of the blocks with his social media content as well. So, but yeah, let's just get Marty onto the podcast to talk about that. So welcome to the podcast, Marty. How are you?
Thanks, Craig. It's good to be here. I'm really well, thank you. Appreciate you giving me the time to come on the podcast and have a bit of a natter.
No, I appreciate you coming on, and I am extremely excited about where this is going to go today because I haven't got a clue as we sit here right now. So it's going to be certainly interesting as we delve into the world of Marty and obviously your journey in financial services, your trips through the woods looking for clients as you do. And we'll explain a little bit more about that in a bit because obviously for people that haven't seen your videos then thinking, why are we talking about that very early in the podcast? But yeah, I think it's just going to be like, it's just the idea is to get to know you a bit more, understand your journey so far, and really, who knows where it's going to go? No agenda, no nothing. We'll just have a chat and see where the conversation goes, which generally is how the podcast works every single week.
That's great. I'm looking forward to opening that can of worms, that proverbial can of worms, and see where we end up.
Who knows? Like I say, it's going to be an exciting ride. So let's see where we go. So first of all, for those people that don't know who you are, do you want to give a background, brief history in terms of your journey in financial services so far?
Yeah, I actually started in financial services before Facebook was a thing.
Wow. You don't look that old, mate. You don't look that old.
I know. I started just after I made my first communion. My parents wanted to get a head start, help paying the bills. I joined in 2003. I grew up in Ireland. I didn't come to England until I was much older. And the place that I grew up, it's a very small place, so I was too lazy to be, like a builder. Those guys are tough. I couldn't do that, so I wanted a job with my brain, basically, so that I could focus more. I joined the banking world in 2003, and I took it from there.
And so you've been banking. Well, we can name the high street bank that you worked for. But you've been there. Like it's quite unique when you look at your past and your journey in financial services. You've had quite a lot of loyalty with that particular bank, given the fact that like quite unique in this day and age of how because you were there. How many years were you there?
Well, actually, let me interrupt and correct. So I actually started with a bank in Ireland called Northern Bank.
Okay.
And then they got taken over by another company called Danks Bank in 2006. And that was the year I actually left them because I came to England in 2006 in the pursuit of love, which is not the current love. That was an old love. So the pursuit didn't go too well. But, it's all part of the journey. But then actually, so I did work it was in 2007, I applied to work in HSBC. Funny little story. The only reason I worked for HSBC is because they were the first bank. I applied to them all, but they were the first bank to actually reply to me. So that was how I ended up with HSBC. And I even remember I went into the HSBC in the local branch, but the day before my interview, and I picked up as many brochures. I was looking around the walls, posters and things like that, because I wanted to gather as much information. A lot of the bigger banks that everybody, the normal banks, so to speak, in the UK, they're not really as popular in Northern Ireland. They don't have as much of a presence there. So I didn't know anything about HSBC, who were at the time the second biggest bank in the world, maybe even burgeoning on the first biggest bank in the world, and I had never heard of them. So that goes to show you, where I came from.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I joined HSBC. It was just out of pure luck. I stayed there. I've done a variety of jobs. I kind of worked my way up from the bottom. Was quickly promoted, so it was a good journey. And I think I got a taste for working hard and kind of climbing the ladder a little bit. And then in 2014, I was getting a bit stale, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but there was no challenge to what I was actually doing. I could do it, and I was great at it, and I was succeeding, but it wasn't really engaging with the brain. So then somebody offered me the chance and said, "Oh, you should do mortgages." It was just an offhand thing. And I had done them from a non-advised point of view, giving people factual information, doing decisions principles and things like that. So I knew a little bit about them, but I had never even thought about the advice process. And then I thought, well, I'm not doing anything else. I was single at the time. I had time to study. So they gave me the chance to take some garden leave and do studying. So I spent 3 months studying and then 3 months doing my exams, 1 exam per month, which was intense. And then got fully qualified January 2015. And the journey to today started there, essentially.
So, there's a couple of things you've said in there that I want to explore a little bit more. And so, first of all, they let you so you basically get time off to complete your CMAP there. That's what they did.
Initially, no. What they said when they laid it all out, so they wanted us to do it was the CII exams, so R01, CF6, and R05, and they said, you need to do this on your own time. So you're going to keep working, and I was working as a senior personal banker at the time, non-advised job, and they said, when you go home, get studying, and that was it. So I spent a month basically doing that. And then at the end of that month, once I passed the exam, they kind of had an indication that, oh, hang on, we might be able to something here. So then somebody said, let's let a few of these people take off because we need mortgage managers. We need them to come into the business. We're suffering. So they actually gave us then 2 months off to just stay at home and study and to prepare for the harder. I think maybe R01, it depends on your opinions on it, but I felt R01 was very generic, so it wasn't as hard as CF6 and R05, especially because they're a lot more specific. You might be less comfortable with those areas than you would be with R01 because it's very, it's kind of a helicopter, ethics, principles, etc.
Yeah.
The specifics don't get drilled into until the other exams. So yeah, they gave us the time off to do the exams. I actually, though, the first couple of days, I wasn't disciplined enough. I actually went into work and I just sat myself upstairs in a private room and I studied because I thought there's no way, I never worked at home. I can't stay at home and study. I won't do it. There's too much on TV.
Too many distractions.
Yeah. I did take advantage of that time. I won't lie. There was a few hairy nights. That was just great that you didn't have to get up the next day. And here's the funny thing. When I went into the branch the next day to work, I could stroll in at whatever time I wanted. I wasn't under the same constraints as everybody else. So all these other people were, their eyeballs are hanging out of their head at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just strolling in, no uniform, pair of shorts, maybe, ripped T-shirt. How's it going? I'm just going upstairs. And then I'll stroll out at maybe 3 o'clock. See you tomorrow, guys. I'm sure they all hated me.
But the green eyes looking back at you, literally.
Yeah, I could feel eyeballs in the back of my head, But it worked out because, they gave us the time. And it was really good because I wasn't pressured into studying at night and sort of ruining my days by studying at night. So it was really good. And the time was very beneficial because I spent more time studying than I would have if it was just doing that at night. And I was able to get the exams. I mean, I don't want to sound it in a blowy way, but doing those 3 exams in 3 months is a really short space of time and it's quite intense. And I was proud of the fact, obviously, that I got those exams and got the studying done and then passed them all. So, yeah, January 2015, then I was good to go.
Brilliant. I think you're right in terms of there's people or potential brokers that I talk to and sort of they're talking about the CMAP and I'm planning to do my CMAP over the next 18 months and things like that. Well, yeah, that's all well and good, and you can do it over that period of time, but you can do it far quicker, and you prove that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got the support of your employer, which is a big thing, but if you put your mind to it, you can achieve it
Yeah.
far quicker if that's something you want to do.
I think new brokers and people that are maybe looking about this, I think if they're concerned that the exam is the be all and the end all, and it's really not. Anyone that's done those exams, I don't remember the last time I actively used a piece of knowledge that I picked up specifically from one of those books in an advised mortgage and protection appointment. I learned more how to do the job in the first 2 weeks of actually doing the job than I did on those exams. So my takeaway to anybody, and I have talked about this, I've told people, and I've helped mentor some people as well about getting their exams and moving forward and doing something with their lives. And I said, get your exams done, get it over with, and then you'll start the actual real process of doing this job.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Nothing, like I've talked about before, where it's like you get your exams and you've got your mitts and in your hand is your CMAP qualification, right? I'm ready to be a broker now. And then you go on an induction course with a network or with a firm or anything like that, and everybody's got a 15% deposit with no bad credit, no issues, no nothing. They're buying a very straightforward 3-bedroom semi-detached house. Everything is like in no down valuation, no issues with the survey, no nothing. Everything just swims along nicely, and then they hand over the keys, and then they move in. And that's like the CMAP. It's just, the CMAP's put you in that world. The induction puts you in that world, and then you become a broker and you go, wow, like nobody told me that people have got CCJs. What are like those? Who bankruptcy? Why do I go with that? SA 302s, what the hell are they talking about? Credit files, what you're so all those sorts of things that can't prepare you for the world that you're about to be hit by. And I think that's why people don't, like, obviously you've gone through it and stayed with it, and that's testament to you and your personality and who you are. But there are a lot of brokers that going into the brokerage world, totally inexperienced and totally new, go into and go, this is not what, especially like banks get cushioned a little bit. I get that from a certain angle, but because it's either yes or no, you literally can do it or you can't do it. Whereas from a broker point of view, and like what you're experiencing, it's just sort of the learning starts as soon as you start doing it.
Yeah. I actually helped, once I was in the job about, let's say, 6 to 12 months, I don't remember exactly, but my boss at the time said, I need you to help another new entrant. Just, they're not long in the job. I need them to somebody that's been through the process recently. They need a bit of guidance and a bit of support. So I was trying my best, and this person, they were having issues without going into detail. It didn't seem like the job was a good fit. They'd done it on a chance, which is great. I really appreciate when people just take chances and try things, but it didn't seem a good fit. But I said to him, it won't all come together on week 1 or week 2 or month 1. There is a point where you'll start to feel confident. It's usually about 3 months when sort of things start to click and you'll feel confident in your own ability, and you just have to stick with it and be really invested into getting to that point. I said, how long have you been doing it? And he said 6 months. So we had to change track on the type of support that was being offered. Unfortunately, he did indeed decline to stay. And I've seen people, start the job and leave, and sometimes it's not for everybody. But I think I don't know, this is going to sound really blowy, but I'm really passionate about it. And I do love the job. I love helping people. I love sitting down and getting to know people and having a laugh with them and building a bit of rapport. And then at the same time, finding out what these people want to do. And, being involved in that process is brilliant. It's a massive thing to be able to help people. And, these people will send you a picture of cracking champagne in the first night in the house or something along those lines. And it honestly, I know it sounds really cheesy, it makes me really, really happy to be able to do that. And that's actually the reason that I stayed with the job. I mean, last year I could have done anything. I'm brilliant. I know I can do any job. But I wanted to actually carry on and do this job because I love helping people. I can't get it across enough. I love helping people.
I think it's important that you've got that inside you, to the drive and the motivation and the joy of actually, because there's no better feeling than somebody that comes to you who's maybe been declined with lenders and things like that, and you help them put together a plan, see them through that journey, help them to get literally without, you're not literally handing over the keys, but that journey for that client is life changing for those people. And I think brokers underestimate that sometimes. That so you've got to enjoy it. If you hate doing what you're doing, there are far more things that you could be brilliant at, like you said, than being a mortgage broker. But
Yeah.
you've got to enjoy doing what you do. You've got to enjoy, and it goes back to the start where you got into financial services and you didn't want to be a bricklayer like on a building site or anything like that because you wouldn't have enjoyed that. You've got to
Exactly.
not play to your own strength, but you've got to enjoy doing what you're doing because it will make the job. The mortgage broking role, it's a tough gig, isn't it? It's a tough job. It's a real roller coaster. So if you don't enjoy it and then you've not got the support and things like that, it can be an easy excuse to get out of or not. Whereas they say if you enjoy it, and you enjoy it for the right reasons, that it's the client's experience and the cracking the champagne in the first night in the house. Those clients are yours for life. You've done the right thing for them. You're gonna have to work hard to lose them rather than work hard to keep them.
Yeah. Well, I know I talked about this story recently on social media, but I love it and I will never stop talking about it. I helped a couple do their IVF therapy, pay for their IVF therapy, and I was able to hold that baby at a point in the future. And not to sound, with toxic masculinity and all that, but I might have been glassy eyed at a point in that when I was able to hold that baby. Even now, it gives me chills just to think about that process and being able to help those people. And I was only a tiny cog in it, but it was able to change. I literally changed their life, and I know that because I have a toddler, so I know how much their life changed. But it's people. People are at the heart of everything. You can take away. Nobody likes doing the paperwork and the admin and all that jazz and the stuff that takes up so much of your time. Nobody likes doing that. But you cannot forget, if you have a fascination with people, as I do, they're at the heart of everything you do, and you make it right for them and you do your best for them, and you can, as you said, you can change people's lives. It's brilliant.
I guess they're knocking on your door now doing babysitting duties, Marty. That's the thing. So.
No, they can't afford me. You see my rates.
But it's like, but that story will stick with you for the rest of your life. Obviously, it's going to stick with them for the rest of life, but that story will stick with you. It's like all the good things. It's like the same with the bad things that happen within the role. And I've talked about those in the past where you've like clients who maybe you've not gone to the nth degree on protection and talked about the not so nice things that can happen. That can be life changing for the wrong reasons for clients. So it's always important that you're making sure you're doing the right thing by your client and doing your proper job. And you can look back on that and think, you know what, I did the right thing by them. And they may not toddler tantrums and teenagers and things like that. They might resent you at some stage, but fundamentally, they're going to enjoy that situation, which is, like you say, that is life changing for everybody. So you talked a little bit there about social media. So let's get on to that and let's look at that. So you started broker, you left HSBC last towards the end of the last year. So
yeah, at the end of November, just kind of around Christmas time, I took the leap and left HSBC at that time.
So what was going through your head at the time with regards to? I've jumped a gun a little bit. I'm going to come back to social media because we've missed a little bit about you, but then becoming a mortgage broker. So, what was sort of going through your head at the time with HSBC, thinking, right, you know what, I'm going to want to be a self-employed mortgage broker now?
That's a lot of stuff was going through my head at that time. A lot of stuff that I wouldn't like to repeat again. Not based on HSBC, but it was, I worked there for 14 years, and you kind of settle into a mood, and you're in your comfort zone. And this is for everybody that's thinking about going self-employed or being a mortgage broker or even going employed or doing mortgages. Your comfort zone, you need to get out of your comfort zone. It's life, it saps at your life. So yeah, I stepped out of the comfort zone and it was worrying. What am I going to do next? How do these self-employed people do this? I did think I wanted to go self-employed. I talked to some people. This is before I'd originally talked to you. They loved it. They liked the freedom and the control and the fact that they were able to do it. So that was pretty much on the docket from, day one. If I leave, I'm going to go self-employed. I'm going to try this. I have no issue taking risks and seeing how it pans out. And I thought, if I don't do this now, I'll never do it. I'll just settle into something else and I'll get comfy. And then, I'll be retired. So I want to try something that was, it sounds silly. It's on one hand, it's exactly the same. But then on the other hand, it's so different. And different in a good thing, because I have learned so much in, what are we on now? 2 months. I've learned so much in 2 months. I've learned stuff that I thought I knew. Nope, I didn't know enough. And now I've learned. So it is an ongoing learning process. But yeah, it was a nervy time for me, but I kind of wanted to stick to my guns and see how it pans out. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You just get, if it doesn't work out, you get another job. There's jobs. It's an employee's market at the minute if you want one. Yeah. So somebody said to me once, life isn't about what happens; it's about how you react to it. That's the important thing. So people generally, I don't want to generalize. I shouldn't say that. People live, let's say 80%. They worry about what happens, and then 20% how they react. I try and flip that so that how whatever happens, you can't change that.
No.
So whatever happens has happened. Now, what are you going to do about it? So you can choose to be a Debbie Downer, as we used to say in school, the negative Nancy, or you can do something positive, and maybe this will work out, and it'll change my life. So I can change my life, and then I can help people change their lives as well. So nervy time, but I was pretty confident in the decisions that I made. I had a lot of support as well. My wife was very, very supportive. She was just like, go for it. Do something different. And then she actually changed jobs at the same time, which is kind of worrying. just to put the pressure on. Oh, honey, the way you're going self-employed? Yeah, I'm going to get a new job as well.
Great timing.
Yeah, it's just jealous of my attention. I couldn't have the spotlight for 5 minutes.
You couldn't have me for 5 seconds. It has to be about you as well.
Yeah. But anyway, she's all well and good. She was really supportive. I can't thank her enough for the support that she gave. And even now, do you need to see appointments at weekends? Do you want to do nights? Do you need to do Sundays? I'll ask her, Elif, can I do an appointment on Saturday? Is that okay? Can you look after Oisin? You don't have to ask, just do it. Get on with it.
Yeah.
So she's really, really supportive, and you do need that.
You do. I totally 100% agree with you, mate. You've got to have that support behind you, because the job, we've talked about the job being difficult enough as is, and if you've not got that support behind you to really go for it, take the risk, do what you've done, and sort of change your own life and looking to change your family's life and things like that, it's then you just need that support. Because if you feel as though you're on your own, it's a lonely job anyway, being a self-employed mortgage broker. You work from home, you're in your own environment. It's then, if you've got the battle and the turmoil behind the scenes, it will certainly make the risk you've taken a lot difficult. The road will be a lot bumpier, and it's, like you say, it's having that support there to make sure that the road's always going to be bumpy. It's just about smoothing them out as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, but I was telling her I actually sent this out today. I had a 5-star review, and I was glowing about it because I love that kind of thing. And I was telling her about it, and she was honestly as enthusiastic about me receiving 1 5-star review as I was, which is weird, but brilliant. Brilliant. When she tells me that she gets a 25% discount with her employer, I don't get that excited. Great. You go spend your money, you buy whatever you want, you get your discount. But she's so enthusiastic about supporting me, and maybe she's, she doesn't, in her head, she probably doesn't care about the job as much as I do, but she cares that I'm supported and that I'm happy, and that, she's just standing behind me going, keep on going. You're doing a good job. Keep on going. And it's really what you need.
Yeah, definitely. No, it certainly is because you, like you say, you put yourself out there. You've been brave. You've taken the risk. You are a kind of person that will take risks anyway. Because, like you say, what's the worst? What's the worst that can happen? What is the way? You've
Yeah,
got to look back on this and think, do you know what? I took risks. I did something. I, if I'm in my comfort zone, it's just it's okay to live a comfortable life, and that's what it be. It's not. That's what you're gonna have. It's like it's an easy thing to do and taking the easy option. And I get that that's for some people because people
yes,
don't like taking risks. They just don't like that insecurity kind of thing. Whereas, like you said, one thing that was really prominent that you said there about flipping it on, he said like when you looked at the 80-20 and looking at it from the other side of it, that's a great way to look at it because that's exactly how I would look. You can't control what's happened. You can't control that situation. You can't control what, but you can control how you react to it and how you move
yeah,
forward with it. And like you say, it's probably even, you sort of said 20-80, 80-20, but then 20-80 is then, well, actually, probably like it's a good rule to think about like that. And
yeah,
well, 10%, 15%, 20% is the actual situation. How you react to that situation is fundamentally how you come out the other side of it.
yeah. I've had a case recently where I could have given up. And I've spoken to it at length with the client, and it's not the best, but I'm trying my best. But we got to a point where it would have been easy to give up. But then I was thinking about it yesterday, and I thought, no, we're not giving up. We're going to try this because at the end of the day, it's worth it. These people that are behind everything that we do, there's people behind it. I can help them people, and I can do something with them people hopefully. So what's the worst that can happen? I think I'm going to get T-shirts with that printed on it. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, I could think of other words and phrases that he used. He can have on the front, and then what's the worst that can happen on the back, maybe.
That's actually one of the phrases. That one would be okay for T-shirts. You know some of the phrases that I have used in the past, and they're not suitable for public consumption.
No, no, definitely not. I think no, I don't think there's any environment that is publicly okay to wear that on a t-shirt, shall we say? But
That's why if you want to go self-employed and you want to work from home, it's great because you can't offend anybody in the office. So you can say what you want and you can talk out loud and you can say what you want, but you'll never offend anybody in the office. So there's a great reason, if
yeah,
nothing else. Just
benefit right there.
exactly.
Yeah, you don't have to watch your P's and Q's sat in your office. Certainly don't.
Nope.
No, no, definitely not. And I know, like you say, you can be. We've got no explicit. You've done well so far, not to sort of come out with any slip of the tongues and stuff like that. So we're doing well so far, mate. I'm impressed.
You know what? If you look down here, my knuckles are white from holding on. I'm holding on to the chair seat. I look down at my arm, and it's the same color as my dad whenever he took me out in my first driving lesson. No, I'm being good. I'm conscious of my. I need to be conscious of my language and it's not the fact that I'm swearing or anything. It's the verbal output. You need to be conscious of the whole thing.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah,
Be fine,
I'm
mate.
trying to be
You're in a
good.
comfortable space. We're in a comfortable space. It's absolutely fine. So let's move. We understand now who you are, about taking risks, the support you've got, how you've changed people's lives. You've become a mortgage broker, and then you've clearly from the start. What I tend to find is people sort of don't fire the gun of social media personality from day one. They sort of like would do little bits of not personal stuff, might do a bit of stuff on social media, just look at various things, then eventually decide I'm not going to be shy anymore. I'm going to come out from behind the camera and start to get my personality across. Whereas you have literally just gone, bang, I'm out there straight away without any hesitation or anything like that. So was that always something you wanted to do? Did you know literally it was going to be the firing gun straight out me on social media? Is it like something
No.
suppressed inside? Is that why the white knuckles have been there, Marty? You'd be the HSBC said I can't do anything, and then all of a sudden I've got the freedom now and I'm out there.
To be honest, no. I mean, I didn't really have the self-promotion. You didn't have to do that. So there was nothing, I never thought about doing it before. When I thought about being self-employed, there's free advertising. Why would you pay for advertising when you've got free advertising all over the internet? And I thought, it's going to be easy to advertise. And then I cribbed from other people and I looked at their ideas and I say, what are those people doing? Are they successful? It's a picture of a house with somebody saying, I do mortgages. Why am I going to you then? You offer me nothing. So yeah, I thought I need to do something different. And I've always had a little bit of a creative side. Creative chaos would be a good term to apply. So it was just an opportunity to try something. And, I like doing the stuff. It's quirky and it's goofy. And, and I'm, as you said, running in forests at 8:00 in the morning, pretending to shout at somebody, or, I'm hunting down a customer in the wilds of Cheshire. Stuff like that interests me. And to be honest, I'm narcissistic. If I think it's funny, then I'm going to go for it.
So, but like you say, the content chaos that you've sort of created is really, we're getting to see you from the start. We understand that, but I think you're getting what you can clearly see is that there's both sides. That you've got the personalities going on, that you are creative, which is quite unique from a mortgage broker point of view. I'm not the most creative person, and that's where mortgage brokers struggle with creative stuff, because they sort of sit down there with a pad and go, right, I'm going to be creative today. What? And it's just sort of what does that look like? Just give me a client that's got some issue that I can help. So you get a problem, and then you fix it as a mortgage broker. With creativeness and content, it's sort of, well, where do you start? What do you do? Where does that? And so, do you sort of pick things out? Just thoughts going through your head constantly? Is it things you write down? What sort of if you think of the content that you've done recently and the stuff that I've seen, which is absolutely fantastic, it's then well, where does that spark come from?
The deep bowels and recesses of a psychologically traumatized mind. That's where it comes from. So eventually it gets drilled down into something that's palatable for a public audience. Honestly, there's no right and wrong answer to this in the way that I look at it. There's things running through my head constantly. My mind is always busy, which is kind of a problem sometimes. But, I will look at something just casually. I'm wandering around, I'm looking at something, and I'll just get a stroke of an idea. I wonder how I can relate that to something that I like to do. I do carry around a pen and paper now, and I write down everything. Not all ideas will make it. But I have a list of ideas at the minute that I can turn into something, and then we'll try it out, see if it works. So there's video content, there's photos, there's just dialogue. So I don't really have a process. I just kind of I'm throwing everything at it, and then I'll sort it out and see what sticks. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't stick, and it goes in the bin. But I'm going to go back to it. What's the worst that can happen? Yeah. Why not try it?
I'm going to have a ding every time you sort of say, what's the worst that can happen?
If there's any companies out there called What's the Worst That Can Happen that would like to sponsor me, I am available. I do say that. Now, I'm going to focus on that now. I do say that quite a lot. So I'm going to stop saying that so much. Conscious of that now.
I think we've all got them. We've all got things that we say without consciously being aware of saying them. So we will let you off. I think you now carry a pen and paper or pencil and paper, whatever it is, around with you, just to make sure that anything that springs there, you then creating, it's then noted down so you don't forget it. Like you say, it's not might be not fit for purpose right this second, but it will fit for purpose at some stage in terms of what you're doing. Definitely.
I think content, you need to plan ahead. You can't sit down on Tuesday and think, here's what I'm going to post today. I'm going to shoot that video, or I'm going to write my text, or I'm going to do all this. And then you end up posting it at 5 o'clock when nobody cares. You need to plan ahead. So I have, days worth of content that I can potentially post at any time. So you need to have a bank. It's almost, you need to have a bank of clients. I need to have a bank of content. You need to plan ahead. Very, very important.
But so this is something that I didn't ask before, but clearly this is the kind of person that you are, is that if you, first of all, just to add on to that comment, what you've sort of said about, I think you'll succumb to the pressure. If you're thinking I've got to post something at 5 o'clock today and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon thinking about I've got to get something post, it will not come across naturally because you'll get panic situation hitting in, and there's no better feeling in the world than, because you do videos, I do videos, there's no better feeling in the world than getting ahead with your content. It is absolutely paramount to get ahead. And we'll talk about when and stuff like that in a second. But clearly you're a person of preparation, because going back to something you said right at the beginning about HSBC, you went into the branch, you got an interview the next day, you went into the branch, you collected as much information as you can, and you prepared yourself for that interview. You're preparing yourself to do your videos, you're preparing yourself to create content. Is that a fair comment?
Yes, definitely. It's it might look like sort of an organized chaos, but there is a lot of organization that goes into my lifestyle. It looks ad hoc, but it's not.
No.
And I don't think this is the kind of job where you can be, you could just do it off the cuff. Whether you're speaking to a customer, you need to be prepared. Whether you're, starting out on a journey of being self-employed, you need to be prepared. Whether you're planning content for the week, you need to be prepared. So I do like to have a plan. It doesn't always stick. If you think you need to sit here and stick to your plan, A to Z, and you're not allowed to make deviations to it, then you can jog on, because that's not going to happen.
No way.
You need to have an overview and be prepared for what's coming ahead. So, but I do like to prepare for things. Yeah, I feel like you're psychoanalyzing me here, Craig.
No, not at all. It was just something that sprung, because I'm a person of preparation. I know what you sort of said about getting it just reminisced with me when you sort of said about preparing and getting your content out there, and getting your content, having a backup and making sure you've got enough content out there. You could post something today if you instantly needed to do it, because you've got plenty of content that you've created. And that's the same for me in terms of the videos. You're like, well, you know your weeks ahead with it. So it's important to be that way, because if you know that you're weeks ahead with your content creation, and you could post the whole of them another month, 4 weeks down the road, and you've just got enough to do that, when you are things will just come naturally to you, and then you'll just create something around it, because it's a natural thing to do rather than forced upon you and you're having to do it. It's just do you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do about that. And let's get it done. I'm going to get that done tomorrow, or get it done. And then you've then another week's worth of content done, 4 weeks, 5 weeks in advance. And it's just building on that kind of thing, because then, so I'm not psychoanalyzing you, mate. Don't worry. Don't panic about that. I
wouldn't if I was you, because
no desire to do that. Yeah,
you might end up damaged.
I was just going to say, I like taking risks, but I don't like taking that much risk. There's a limitation with the risks that I want to
take. You've got a mitigated risk profile. That's good. I'm okay with that.
So when you're looking at, is there any set times, days, structure, when you're looking at your content?
Initially there was. I wanted to try and stick to this overview of maybe 3 days a week. Post something factual, in terms of the job or what I can do, or facts, maybe a little A to Z, how can I help people, etc. Then I always wanted to incorporate something funny or something humorous, because that's me. And the guy that you see in the videos is an exaggerated version of the way that I am.
Right.
My personality does not change, based up from stuff that's in that video. I make those kinds of jokes, and I will do goofy things like that just when there's no camera on me. And that also, it comes across in my appointments as well. I want people to know that I am actually as down to earth as you can get. You know, that I want people to open up to me and trust that I'm able to do things for them, and I've got their best interests at heart. And I think my content, I think it makes me vulnerable. You know, there's almost a vulnerability to putting that sort of goofy side of your side out in public. And especially, you know, we live in a professional world where people are all suits and ties, and vulnerability is almost a weakness, you know, that you can't be vulnerable, that's just rubbish. Just because you be yourself doesn't mean that you're being vulnerable. So I wanted to get that side of things across. The other thing was then maybe doing reviews and things like that. You know, I like getting the old 5-star reviews and posting them, which is a great way to show off that, you know, that you've been able to help people. But that plan quickly went out the window because when I started thinking about content, my brain started firing on all cylinders, and I was recording videos every day. I was writing things down. I was looking at, you know, the glass of water, and I was thinking, you can't see that on camera, but I was thinking, you know, that there's a glass of water, there's the glass half full, glass half empty thing. Which are you? Blah, blah, blah. I can turn that into content. I drank a smoothie one day, and I posted a picture of it about the smoothie scoop not being right and not being able to do the job, and I can turn that in. Anything can be content. You just have to think outside the box a little bit. So I try and have a minimum now. I want to do it at least 3 times a week, because consistency, no matter where I live, consistency is key. I didn't post much last week because I was a bit sick, and I've noticed that my engagement has dropped massively in the last week. So I need to get back to it. I've got a bank of stuff that I could just put on there. So the plan, consistency, and be yourself. That sort of was the takeaway from this kind of stuff. Everybody knows the facts, and there's 100 other advisors giving out the facts, but I'm going to be myself, and I'm going to stand out a little bit. And maybe that'll be the guy that somebody will remember when they see this silly video. I'm on TikTok now, everybody.
Well, we're going to move on to that, but like, if you've sort of like you've just gone straight in with the promotion, like I shame I've not got a little sort of thing at your bottom with your username or whatever it is at the bottom, kind of thing on your. We can create that, but yeah, you're now on TikTok.
That seems to be a thing now that everybody says. You know, nobody comes up to you in the street and goes, "Hey, I'm on Facebook." But I see people saying now on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, they go, "Hey, I'm on TikTok now." So I'm a TikToker, or I'm TikToked.
So how's that going? Because I'm not on TikTok. I have TikTok. I'm not on TikTok.
Well, it started really well because I posted a couple of videos. Then I got sick, so there was a bit of a drop off on it, but I'm back on it now again. But the reach on TikTok is crazy. Now there are people that have got 15 million views. I'm not looking for that, but I've posted 2 videos that have an average of 600 views on TikTok.
Wow!
But it gets even better. You know how many followers I have? 1.
You've got 1 follower, but 600 views on your TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay.
So generally, you look at places like Instagram and Facebook, and the number of followers that you have will match up to the number of views that you get on video.
Somewhere. Yeah, absolutely.
Not on TikTok. These views are just organic. People are finding videos and viewing them, and obviously it's all over the world. I don't know, but there's maybe that one. I only want one person to contact me from watching that video.
Yeah. To
say, listen, I need a little bit of help. Can we have a chat? Of course we can. That's what I'm here for.
But the thing is, people are going to reach out to you. And I think it's something you said about your personality, because you are on your videos, your personality comes across. There is no alter ego, shall we say, if this is what Marty's like on his videos. And then in the first appointment, yes, there's a process. Yes, there's certain things you've got to do, but you are still going to get the same personality, the same person. Because if you didn't, if we saw Marty running through the woods, smelling of lynx, Africa, and all those different things you talked about, and Old Spice, then, and I said Old Spice then, not Spice, and just to clear we're not Old Spice, the fragrance from
just
the
to be clear,
70s.
I don't smell of cumin.
So then you've got those, and then so you've got those videos going on that you're creating, and then if somebody saw you in the first appointment, which was totally different personality, it would freak them out. I would be freaked out by that. I'd be going, what? Like, why? Like, this is a stuffy person that's very no rapport, no trust, nothing going on. And then I've got these videos. Is this the same guy? Has he got like a twin brother? Unfortunately for that twin brother, but has he got a twin brother going on? Is he sort of like? Do you get what I mean? Like, it's just the people need to see who you are. You're absolutely right about consistency of consistently posting. However, they need to get consistency from you as well.
Yeah, you can't be fake, because then within the first 5 minutes, your fakeness is exposed. I can be, when I'm doing my appointments, I am the utmost professional at doing what I need to do. But that doesn't mean to say that, professional doesn't always mean formal. You can be informal and professional at the same time. I am experienced and I'm qualified and I know what to do and I know how to help people. But why should it be a stuffy process that people are dreading? I want people to want more appointments with me. Generally, you'll get 2. I want somebody emailing me and say, can I have another appointment? Because I'm a bit bored today and I want to have a chat. So the more appointments, the more clients that I can get in and speak to people and, get to know them, I want them to know me as well, because that's how they'll trust. I want them to say, I spoke to that guy and he was brilliant. He really helped out and I really enjoyed my time with him. Maybe I'll tell somebody about him. I want their friends and family to come to me as well. It's organic reach. I don't want false reach, or, I want organic reach that people trust me enough to say, that's the guy. He's a good guy. He will help out and he'll look after you.
Yeah, definitely. When you look at, you sort of said about TikTok, obviously posting on TikTok, Insta, Facebook, like you're available on all social media platforms. Do you tailor your content to platforms, or is it a case of everybody gets the same, whether you're on LinkedIn, Insta, TikTok, it's the same videos that you're posting out there?
At the minute, it's the same content, because I seem to have, I've got different people on different platforms. I'm using my hands here and you can't even see them. So I've got different followers. My personal Facebook has a lot more followers than the business Facebook, because it's been built up over a long period of time. So I tend to have the same content across everything, because I don't want somebody to miss out. How much of a narcissist does that make me sound, that I don't want the one person on LinkedIn that doesn't follow me on Facebook or Instagram to miss out on something?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so at the minute, I don't see the need to do lots of different types of content. There's no rules, apart from these guys on LinkedIn that say you can't post personal stuff. That's a different topic. But anyway, there's no rules. Facebook hasn't come to me and said, don't be showing off pictures of Quarry Bank. We don't advertise there. It's all rubbish. You just do you and see how you get on.
Yeah, and don't be afraid. Like, what? I'm gonna say then, what's the worst that can happen? But just don't. It's just because people sometimes, like, do you not? And there's no leading question with this. In terms of, do you actually care what people like? If you got trolled, if you got messaged, if somebody sort of said to you, "Marty, what are you doing?" Like, kind of thing, like you're a joke, and would you actually care?
I could not care less.
Brilliant. Perfect. Yeah.
My honest answer is, so at the minute, I have 2 goals in life. My goals have changed across my life and across the time periods of my life. So number 1 is looking after my family. I've got a wife, I've got a son. Obviously, my wife can look after herself, but, I'm kind of old school. I want to look after her. I want to make sure that she's safe, she's protected. Number 2 goal is that at the end of a process that I've been speaking to somebody and helping somebody, that person is looked after, that they're satisfied and that they know what's going on. and that they're happy with what I've been able to do and what I've been able to bring to the table. After that, I don't care. If you don't like the way that I look, I don't care. What does it matter to
about
me?
that. You can't do anything about the way you look, mate.
Yeah, I don't care what that person's opinion is. I'm never going to meet you. You're never going to have an impact on my life when you're nothing to me. So if you disagree with me, brilliant. But if you want to have a debate about it, then let's discuss it. But if you're just going to come out and say something stupid for the purpose of a bit of attention, then go to confession at mass, and somebody there will listen to you. They'll listen to you listing off your sins, but I'm not that bothered.
Fine.
I think I used to be, but you kind of get older and wiser, and you focus on what matters in life, and where you put your priorities. And I think my priorities are pretty stable at the minute, and they're valuable to me. My principles, the rest of it, I'm not that bothered. I don't care.
I'm not that bothered. You can't, you can't control them. You can't. How can you prepare? How can you control for the reactions that you're going to get from people? And if they're sort of taking the time to give you some negative feedback, then thank them for it and move on. It's just as long as it's just not letting it in here. That's the thing is, it's not letting it in here, which some people do struggle with, and I get that in the society and stuff like that. I do totally get that, and it's difficult sometimes. It's like it's the fear of rejection. I've seen some of the best mortgage brokers in the world not succeed because of fear of rejection, whereas you can't have that in our world. When you put yourself out there on social media, if you're creating content and all you're worried about is what people are going to say or think about it, you're not creating content for the right reasons. Because you're not going to create the right content, first of all, but you're going to have that in your mind when you're looking at it. Whereas, whatever you do, some people are going to agree or like it or whatever the case would be. And then you're going to get people that are going to not agree. Some people might not post anything, but some people might put negative comments and things like that. That's just going to happen. Well, sooner you accept that happens, then the move quicker you can move on. See, I nearly swore then. I nearly got the explicit thing out there for you.
You cannot please everybody, and trying to is wasting your own time. So, do you? I do videos that I think are funny simply because I think they're funny. If nobody laughs at them, that's not my problem. I still thought it was funny. I done that training video, of doing push-ups with the keyboard. God, I thought that was hilarious, and I love doing it. And it's so dumb that you can't help but laugh at it. And I'm sure not everybody thought that. And I had a few comments about it, not being professional. Jog on. But yet at the same time, I have had two people that have seen that video that have come to me and said, "Oh, I seen your video, and you do mortgages, isn't that correct?" Something along those lines. And we've been able to have a chat, and it worked. It's worked.
And the thing is, mate, like you've just started doing it. Think of the impact that you're going to have over the period of time, because there's a long-term thing that you're going to keep doing with consistency. So if you're starting to do it and you're getting traction already, well, fair play. Like it's good that you're getting traction, because it's not something, these things with social media and content and things like that, you don't instantly get traction. It's just about building your business, building your brand, building all those sorts of things. You just got to just keep doing it, haven't you?
The only negative thoughts that I had about it initially, and this was just due to my own inexperience and newness of it, the first couple of things I was posting, and I'm thinking, oh, that didn't get, 6,000 views.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm going to have to change tack and do something completely different. And then that kind of just evaporated, because I had to come to Jesus meeting with myself. And I thought, you cannot expect that, because you don't have that many people. You need to be more realistic. There is an organic build to this. And I've been doing this particular job of social media management for a month. So I can't expect the world straight away. I also don't want to get overwhelmed by it. It can be very addictive doing this kind of stuff. So you can get stuck into the analytics and the statistics, and you can overwhelm yourself with why something isn't doing well. And then you forget about, the day job and the other things that you have to do. So that's honestly where I got the opinion now of sort it, shoot it, record it, put it out there, forget about it. It's gone.
Yeah.
And then move on to the next one.
But it's always out there as well. The thing is, it's always going to be there. So people will reach out to you, will watch your videos and things like that, even days, weeks, months after they've shot. It's always going to be there. So people are always going to see your personality. And if somebody likes your video and likes your profile, as in what they'll then watch the other videos, watch your profile and look at and get to know you a lot more. So it's just you. The thing is, it's not, there's no show, there's no jazz hands through all of this. Literally, we're getting exactly what it's. I just got you to move your hands. You said you weren't going to move your hands, and now I got you to move your hands. So
sorry.
But that's the thing. It's just, it is you, which is what people want to see: the reality and the personality, and build that trust up with exactly who you are. So,
well, I'm sorry. I'm just going to add on a note at the end. I have 7 years experience of doing this job, and people telling me that they love doing business with me. And, that was part and parcel of it. And it was a pleasure to be, to do something so informal and still be able to do what they wanted to do at the end of it. I know it sounds blowy, but they enjoyed speaking to me and dealing with me. Yeah. So why now, when I'm choosing a slightly different route to do this job, why would I change something? Why would I do something different and turn into that robot? Because I've worked with those robots before, and they were the guys that didn't have any clients. Whereas, people are lining around the block to see me like I'm a new Star Wars movie.
You've got your own billboard, mate. I've seen it.
That's a good idea, actually. There's a new content idea.
What's the worst that can happen?
That's how we talk to people about protection. We start off with what's the worst that can happen.
And then work from there.
Yeah.
Marty, honestly, I knew this was going to be like this. There was no agenda with this podcast. We were going to chat about you. And to be fair, I have the joys of working with you day in, day out, week in, week out. I
thank you.
Get you personally. So I honestly do mean that. And I think it's great to get to know you more formally. Never sort of sit down like this and get to know you more formally. It's been great for me to ask questions, talk to you, get your personality out there. And I think it's, like you said, it's been a great hour spent just getting to know you a little bit more. But I'm just very excited about where this is going to go. You've been doing it a month. You plan this a long-term thing. All the things you're doing are on solid foundations. This is going to take you to the goals you want to achieve. And I'm lucky enough to be sat in one of the seats viewing this and sort of seeing where you go with it, which I'm very lucky to do that. So yeah, and thanks very much for your time and coming on to the podcast, mate. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Can I just say one thing before we go?
You may. Don't. As long as it's not. What's the worst can happen?
No. I was going to make a joke and say, follow me on social media. But yeah, I don't know. We only spoke last year, and I had seen stuff from you on LinkedIn. I did not know that this is for the people. This is not for Craig, really. This is for the people that might be watching this and thinking, maybe I will take a chance. I didn't know Craig had a business that he could help me with. I actually reached out to Craig for the purposes of explaining some different areas of being a self-employed mortgage and protection broker. So Craig very kindly, we arranged to speak for, I think the arrangement was 5 or 10 minutes. And we ended up speaking on the phone for an hour, and it was so useful. And I kind of knew the path I wanted to take. And then, you were my Google Maps. You really put me on the right path and gave me really focused, specific directions. And I did not contact you with the intention of working with you. But, that was really fortuitous that it ended up that way. And I think we are a really good team. And I think the business and the team that you have built is brilliant. I love the people that we work with. They're all brilliant. So if anybody out there is kind of thinking maybe, it's not hard to send a message or pick up the phone, and we said we'd talk for 5 minutes and ended up speaking for an hour over it. It really is worth it. I can't stress that enough. It's really worth it to kind of take a chance and see what's the worst that can happen.